Nowadays, when we hear the word war, we always hear negative reaction from people in academia, in daily life, especially in the Western countries. People are so anti-war in any situation that talking about necessary war in any almost any place or any settings will face with a really negative reaction from the environment. So I was thinking why it's always like that, like why some factual historical facts like the war, if we hadn't any war in, for example, in Europe, we hadn't democracy in Europe, we hadn't EU in Europe, we hadn't democratic values, all related to the wars that happened in World War II. But still people think war should always be avoided, but the history teach us something different, like the war sometimes should not be avoided, should be, people should face war, should people should not postpone fighting if it's too necessary. This is not that doesn't mean that people have to favor the war, but if this is too necessary, I mean, in general, maybe it's related to the people. Some people think every human are in nature, they are good, doesn't matter from which side coming, which I think is problematic because some people, some people want to, for example, eradicate you, or want to kill you, or want to destroy your values or societies. Then how we can consider every people is good? Because this concept is related to the how you think about the war. If you think all human in nature, every human should not should not face the war, then every war is condemned. I think this is the problem, maybe. But for example, what why it's important for me, because I come from Iran, and for example, me, I always think some people are really evil, so we need to stand up against them. That doesn't mean I am negative about humanity, but if you care about humanity, I think you should clearly say that some, we need to fight some forces that they are against freedom or threat to the freedom of other people. Maybe it's really dogmatic thinking or old way of thinking, but it's important for me because I see it nowadays in university everywhere. If you talk about war and necessary of war, everyone react really strongly against that. For example, now about Iran, even though without many wars we hadn't many really high value things like democratic values, but seems that some people are forget some people forget about it, or they even not appreciate the values they have now. So it's not about Western values and Eastern values anymore. It's about people appreciate or people value democratic values, freedom. Some are Western and some are not Western, and people are against them. Like in nature, they hate freedom and democratic values. Many of them also Western people. So it's really confusing for me when we talk about, like, for example, the war in Iran or the Middle East. Some people in totally against any war, like any war, it should be avoided in any cost, which is for me it's really dangerous thinking. But I don't know how they can combine the thinking of to be totally against any war and wanting peace. Because for me, if you want real peace, you should be so strong to avoid to not avoid some war and conflict. And this is for me, it's really common sense. It's not it's not only about politics, it's about also as individual level. If somebody bully you all the time and you are not standing up for your right, that nobody gonna protect you. Even you have a police, you have a societies, we have a rules, but if you are as a person not standing up for your rights and for your dignity, then you are inviting suffering and violence against you. At least that's how I understand it. I don't know, it's like it's kind of like for me it's really interesting because it's like people are coming from non-Western countries. They understand this common sense very clearly because they see violence almost all the time. For example, in Iran, violence it's part of societies, as at least many places in Iran or Middle East or Latin America. But people coming from the Netherlands, for example, or from European countries or Western countries, many of them, uh, they, I would say, many naively only pro peace, like in a YouTubeal way, or how you call it. So for me, it's really interesting how they can understand the peace, so totally different than people who lived in a different societies than Western societies. I think they call it zero risk societies, where some societies like Western societies, for example, like a West European societies, for example, they reached a level that they avoid or they don't want to face any kind of risk in their life, which is for me it's interesting to understand, but same times it's not life. Like it's not like it's not normal life, I guess. I don't know.